Welcome to CivilNet. Our guest today is Arsinee Khanjian, who requires no introduction, but is going to get one anyway. Arsinee is not just an actress, but she's been a community activist, a multicultural activist in Canada, an Armenian community activist, it's fair to say around the world. And she's also a member of the Zorian Institute for Contemporary Armenian Research and Documentation's board. She's a member of the board, and that institute is very actively involved in academic work that deals with the whys and hows and consequences of the Armenian genocide. We're going to talk to Arsinee today after welcoming her. Welcome.
Thank
you. We're going to talk with Arsinee about your view on how the genocide recognition and denial processes have changed over the years that you've been involved. Especially, I would say, over the last 8-10 years. It seems to me that when Ararat first came out, for example, the environment was very, very different from what it is today. Am I right? Is it a different world today? Are you faced with different questions today? You're in the international community and you're very closely identified with this issue.
Of course, 10 years, it's a decade, and a lot of things happen in a decade. From genocide recognition, it seems that we have gone into genocide recognition within the context of denial. It was a very hostile period when we made Ararat, and hence the topic of Ararat, which was not about the depiction of the genocide itself as much as talking about, creating a discourse about the denial process of the genocide. And I think as a community, both in the diaspora and since the independence of Armenia, in Armenia, we have understood that it is no longer only pertinent to talk about the genocide as an issue.
As a reality.
As a reality, because our reality as generations have gone on, we have survived in that sense in many respects. We do deal with the denial.
The work that Arsinee Khanjian, Atom Egoyan, Serge Tankian have done in terms of making the Armenian genocide a part of international discourse for a very special generation, for a knowledgeable, artsy, educated, multilingual, well-to-do generation around the world is, can't be underestimated. The academic work that Zorian as an institution does has its place. The work that you individually do as a member of the international artistic community willing to put your name on the line and talk about this difficult issue. Has your job gotten easier or harder over the years?
My job from my commitment to the Armenian questions, or my job as an actor? Because I think nothing has become easier, but things have become perhaps more complex and sophisticated, and I don't take that badly, because I like the challenge, of course. Just very briefly, from my professional perspective, the fact that I have such a obvious commitment to the Armenian genocide or the Armenian culture in the diaspora, probably I have complicated my life professionally in that sense. It has become both mine and Atom's as well, especially after Ararat. At the time we had a discussion where I was dissuading Atom to make Ararat, because I thought that his professional environment might start cornering him in a certain way. And this did happen. But Atom's response at the time was, if I don't do it now, where I have all the attention and the name and the reputation, I don't know if down the road when I'm 70 years old, if I'm going to still be in the midst of my professional community. Therefore, it is my obligation to do it now.
The risk was now, but the need was now.
The need was now. So, and he did pay a price, definitely. It's another subject of conversation, but I can say that it has complicated matters. The same with me, because suddenly I become perceived as an ethnic actress because of my particular attachment to a subject or
which you'd so managed to avoid in all those earlier films. You'd so managed to avoid.
Of course, because I wanted to be an actor, period. not necessarily with the reference of it. My personal life and my personal beliefs were things that I could not in any case avoid, but my professional work I wanted to be as universal as possible, because I also knew that eventually I can bring everything that I had to share with the world through my universal acceptance of the work that I do and the quality of the work. As to the Armenian side, if things have become easier, in certain respects, I feel very fortunate that I can witness many developments, particularly around the issue of the question of genocide. In other respects, I think I have been very surprised that this dream that has become true in an independent Armenia ultimately has not as well in such in such an effective or informed way help to advance the question of the Armenian genocide. I am very also surprised and perhaps dismayed by the fact that on this particular issue where the diaspora and Armenia could have created a language, a vocabulary and a certain process, we have been so much at odds and in such a impossible way to find a commonality in order to provide, because ultimately we are not that many, so numbers matter, and if we put 3 million and 3 million, it's going to be stronger if it's a one voice than 3 million and 3 million with different variants of expressions or understanding of how to proceed. This has complicated matters in an unfortunate way. I still don't see a lot of improvement in this respect, but I remain hopeful that something can come out, because certainly I can speak of myself as a diasporan and people that I'm close to. We are not going to give up on that struggle, not only on the Turkish denialist or international community insensitivity or on lack of interest side,
and ignorance,
but also on the front of making sure that Armenia, the government, the state of Armenia, and I make the distinction between the state and the people, because I think the people have a different disposition if they can only act upon it in a more free and perhaps democratic way than the government does. But I still feel that the struggle is ours and that we cannot give up on that opportunity. So, and I don't say this in any idealistic way. I think I have passed that phase. I say this because I feel that we do have a meaningful role, and a very important one, not only towards ourselves, not only towards our ancestors, our parents, but our children, our future generation. I do have a 19-year-old son who needs to have a sense in his own reality where he comes from and why his world in his intimate environment is shaped the way it is. So this applies to the youth in Armenia. This applies to the youth in the diaspora, and it is my generation's responsibility to make sure that we go as far as we can.
A question about art and politics, and we'll conclude. Just as you didn't hint, you said the diaspora communities and the Armenian leadership don't at least synchronize, strategize together on this issue. Do the political communities and the artistic communities do so? Should they?
It's interesting, we're an old culture with such an incredible sense and pride of our cultural outcome that when we talk about ourselves, we're talking about thousands of years of creativity. When you go today to see the exhibit about our literature and publishing history, it's quite overwhelming. Every time I'm exposed to this, I'm surprised, because I ask myself, is this culture the same as we learn about? Yes, must be. Of course it is. But it seems that perhaps for practical reasons, perhaps for pragmatic reasons, we have less and less paid attention to the power of the creative possibilities that we have as a nation, as people, both in Armenia and the diaspora. The other night at the opening of the events of the UNESCO evening, there was reference of our writing as a means of struggle, as a combat tool. And I have to say that I thought, sure, khosk, because in reality, what are we really publishing today? What literature are we really sort of strongly referring to? We still refer to, until the genocide, the literature, some of the literature that only very little came out of the literature of the genocide. But can we name literary figures today that we can say they're feeding our awareness, our identity? When we talk about this city, this country where we had such an incredible film culture, and one of the gifts of the Soviet period was that they created that infrastructure. What happened to high film? High film has been purchased as a commercial endeavor. And today, when you go to the Saryan Museum, you see one little Saryan DVD, a beautiful DVD made in the 70s. But the director of the Saryan Museum cannot actually take that work from high film, develop it into, let's say, DVDs that we can distribute around the world, because many people go to the museum, because she has to pay rights to high film that has become a private endeavor. We don't know where these archives are, and we want that museum that survives, what, maybe on $6,000 budget a year. High film in the hands of a private investor is asking $6,000 for copyright. Those films were made with public funding. Those films belong to the people. Saryan Museum should have the normal right to have that film and distribute it around the world so that we know about Mardiros Saryan, not only when we go to the museum, so that we can distribute this work. This is a very specific example of the development of Armenia after independence.
And the absence of policy.
And the absence of policy, we have a wonderful film festival, but how many films do we see in that festival that are true productions of Armenia as we can hope for? The talent is there, the capacity is there, but the means are completely annihilated. Now, why
and the policy is absent?
The policy is absent because there is no understanding and appreciation of the fact that our cultural workers, our artists, serve the same purpose as our foreign ministers or foreign minister or ambassadors when they go, if not more than what these guys do. And I have to say this very bluntly, it's not a criticism, it's a reality. When you go to a film festival and you see French films, any foreign minister of France can go tour any country. It's the film, it's the work that the people are going to consume that is going to matter, not what they say and what is published in a paragraph or two or a page. So if we don't have this understanding and appreciation, I think we are missing on our resources, basically. And this is the reality.
As with so many interviews recently, we start talking about the outside world and end up talking about our world. So thank you for bringing us around in that circle again, because at the end of the day, yeah, it has to start from here.
And our world matters, not only to us, it matters in a universal sense as well. I think we should all feel that civic responsibility.
Thank you, Arsinee Khanjian.
Thank you.